Hello, all. Tonight, I think I may have found one of the dumbest, funniest, goofiest movies I've ever seen on TV. I could not resist watching a movie with this title, Post-Apocalyptic Commando Shark. It's from 2018. It was written and directed by a guy named Sam Qualiana, and it stars Simeon Qualiana as Marty Warbuck, uh, Mick O'Keefe as Dermot Washington, and Debbie Rohlan and Andrew Elias also. A bunch of other people who I can't go on with the whole list, but it's really goofy. It's narrated by a guy who sounds like he's on an old 1940s newsreel, and I think that's actually the director and writer Sam Qualiana who does that. And it tells the story of this mad scientist who, in an attempt to help uh, German scientists trying to help the Soviets, and this is funny because this is 2018, there was no such thing as the Soviet Union anymore, but win a nuclear war, injects humans with shark DNA, and it creates these commando sharks, which are these people wearing like the worst, I swear they got their paper mache shark heads that have absolutely no expression whatsoever. They're really funny. They just have like a big fin sticking out of the top of their head. And they act as like commandos who help the Soviets, and they just go around biting people and killing them. Really funny, really stupid. All the guns are obviously plastic toys, and they look really cheap. The special effects are really low budget, and it just tells the story about the American resistance trying to fight these commando sharks. It just goes on and on. It's just really, really, really dumb and really funny. Uh, and Well, there's this talking dog. The scientist is trying to come up with his own super soldier. He's trying to create a talking dog or a dog human hybrid. Instead, you get this dog who says like, "Can I have my ball now?" I said, "Shut up." I said, "Why can't I have my ball? What are we going to eat?" And he's talking like dog, but he's saying dog things. You know, and he's not any help whatsoever. And then let's see. There's a camp that is supposed to be top secret, only it's marked top secret camp. And the sharks infiltrate it and shoot everybody. Uh, uh, it's just really funny stuff. Like there's an organization called New American Resistance Force, and its initials are NARF, N-A-R-F. That's what's funny, which keeps shifting. Some guy throws a thing called Jimmy's End of the World Barbecue, and the sharks infiltrate that and eat everybody. That was really funny, too. Um, the German mad doctor's name is Wolfgang Schroeder, and you never see his face because he's always wearing a doctor's mask throughout the whole thing. He never takes the mask off. Um, but he has a button that he's going to push. He's implanted all the sharks with a chip that will make them obey him and not follow this and start killing the Soviets. So then they start turning against him because he's done this. And he has a kill switch. He has a button that he can press that will kill all the sharks. And he foolishly reveals this to the leader of the Soviet Union, who he then injects with shark DNA. It's going to turn him into a shark. And tells him, like, you got a chip in your neck too, and you're not gonna survive. And he does turn into a shark, but unbeknownst to he's created something called the gargantua shark, which is a gigantic shark that can live on the land and eats people. And it's just again really bad special effects. Really, you see it like collapse a building and makes a noise that sounds like Godzilla. Eats, old ones. Really bad rear projection, shots. And the scientist comes up with the idea of, instead of he tries to create a human wolf man. And instead he just has this guy's like barking like a dog. He won't shut up. Even Bruno's like, "Will you please shut up?" And finally he comes upon the idea of, why don't I just create a shark repellent? He feels he has this chemical in his lab that was a result of one of his other experiments. It's a natural shark repellent. And so he uses that when a shark tries to come and get him. He sprays him with it, and then he goes, and he shoots him. And then he goes out to they told him about the gargantua shark and everything. It turns out he's got something called a shrink ray, which he just happens to have lying around because he used it to transport stuff to his lab because he's kind of a hoarder, he says. The German scientist, I'd like to see this shrink ray, ha ha ha. Like, he doesn't believe him, and he uses the shrink ray and shrinks the gargantua shark down to like the size of a toy, and he steps on it and crushes it. Then one of the commandos knocks the scientist down. He says, "No, don't kill him. I want to, talk to him." And the remaining commando sharks and the final 10 U.S. resistance soldiers are like the last soldiers left in the world. Take on the sharks and the mad scientist's army, and they start shooting each other and killing each other. And eventually, the mad scientist is attacked by the Russian, who he turned into a shark. And he says, "You made a mistake." And he says, "Well, what is that?" And he says, "You told me that you implanted a chip in me, that you control me. So I took a knife and I dug it out. And now you have no control over me." And he shoots that they kill each other, basically. He bites the German scientist's neck out, and then the scientist shoots him. But he tells the leader of the American resistance, this guy Marty Warbuck, he's got a kill switch in his pocket, and he presses it to get rid of the rest of the sharks. He does that. And then, this heroic voice says, "Oh, and until tomorrow, the two guys, Marty and this other guy, were always trying to beat each other with one-liners. And finally, they get into this big fight at the end. They're just punching each other and wrestling. And the heroic voice says, "So until the next time, America will need defense. We know that people will rise to help it." And you see the American flag waving. It's a fin, the French word for the end. It's just a really silly, goofy, fun movie that I highly recommend, just because it's completely, totally goofy and out there.